expected. And it's going to be a rude awakening for all the men on these apps who are like, I want a traditional woman in another country. I want a woman in another country. I don't want a gold digger. I'm sorry. If you can't attract a woman here and keep a woman here who have lower standards than women in other cultures and other countries, good luck to you, because like that woman, as soon as the money runs out, you're gone. I don't blame her. My father's 54, I'm 30. So yeah, she married you because she wanted money.
Hello YouTube, it's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is called, Why Do Passport Bros Think Foreign Women Want Dustiness? Asked the daughter of a passport bro, shaking my head. And this is my response to the clip you saw at the beginning of this video. I didn't display the whole clip because it was about like 2 minutes long, and I wanted to kind of get to the point of the video. And so what I would do is I'll kind of give you a little bit more detail and context to what the woman is talking about. And then I'm going to completely debunk a lot of stuff she's saying. You know, this is just another, woman hating on the passport bros. And in this case, it's the daughter of a passport bro who's actually hating on her own father for being a passport bro. And so anyway, to start off the video, she tries to come in and act like she's okay with the passport bro movement and that kind of thing. And then she goes on to say that her father's a passport bro and she originally supported him. But what happened was he dated a woman in Jamaica and they were going to get married, and he was sending her money every single week. And he was paying for her to get a house in Jamaica. And then suddenly he lost her job. Suddenly he lost his job. But the woman kept asking him for money every week, and he told her he didn't have it. And then she was threatening that she was going to divorce him, and she was going to leave him. And then he told his daughter, the woman you saw at the beginning of this video, he told her that the woman is going to leave me. What should I do? So then she goes on to shame him and say, well, what do you think? You're a 50-something-year-old man. You're dating a woman in her 30s. And then the woman at the front of this video says that she's 30. Her father's like in his 50s. So pretty much trying to say that she's kind of disgusted to begin with because he's too old to be dating a woman in his 30s. And so anyway, she shames her father and pretty much says she thinks that the movement, for the most part, is a dumb movement. She basically thinks that most of the passport bros are pretty much dusty men. We go to these countries, we get women, and as the narrative goes, the women there, they just want us for our passport, they just want us for our money, but when the money runs out, they're going to abandon us, they're going to divorce us, they're going to do all this stuff like that. And so you might as well just stay here and deal with the hard-headed women here in the United States like her, because she basically said at the end of the video that American women don't have high standards like the women in other countries. Basically trying to say that I guess you're not going to have to send the money here and there and all this kind of stuff like that. So, and then she also mentioned that her father, who's the passport bro, he wasn't around a lot when she was younger. Her mother and him had a big thing. They broke up. He wasn't around much. And then later on, I guess he came back into her life. And so I say the reason I brought that up is because I believe that's really a piece of the reason why she's hating on the passport bros, and specifically her father, because she actually called her father a dusty. So my thing is this. I feel that with her, there's a lot of abandonment there. So she feels that he ran off, basically in her mind, he ran off from her mother. He's ran off from her mother to go chase some woman overseas in Jamaica, some woman, not overseas, in Jamaica, to chase some woman in Jamaica. And he, pretty much abandoned her to do that. So, of course, she's going to have a negative view of men traveling as a result of that. So, so that's, in my personal opinion, where a lot of that is stemming from. Now, I'm going to assume that everything she's saying is correct because, on the other hand, we don't really get to know why her mother and this guy divorced. We don't know, did her mother chase him away? Because you have a lot of that in the United States where there's women who, because a lot of times there's this thing where they try to say all these men are, especially in certain communities where the single mother rate is very high, they try to say that we have a whole bunch of deadbeat fathers and that kind of thing. And that's the reason why all these women are just single and there's no man in their life because the men abandoned them. And that's just not true. There actually was a study done in which they were saying that literally, I want to say it was at least, and I have to look at the article again. I'm not going to say nearly almost in all cases, but it was a very high percentage of these so-called deadbeat fathers that indeed did not fit the criteria of deadbeat fathers. I want to say it was around like 75-80% of those men were not they did not fit the correct definition of a deadbeat father. In fact, they said those fathers, even though they didn't have money, they still tried to provide some type of emotional support to their children. And a lot of times, yeah, they were making payments here and there to help the kid out, maybe with like toys, with clothes, and so forth. But they didn't meet the definition of I just going to abandon my kid. They said only a very small percentage of those men actually fit the criteria, which means in many cases, a lot of these women have actually run the men off. The men got tired of dealing with the mother, or in some cases, the mother didn't want the man in the life at all, and she kind of chased him away. She told her children that her father was no good, and a lot of times what happens is these children grow up, and then they realize that, unfortunately, their mother kind of lied to them in many cases. So I don't know if that's the case with her, but in a lot of cases. But I'm going to assume the positive that maybe her father, for whatever reason, he broke up with the mother. He wasn't there that much. He went off and then he married some woman in Jamaica or something like that. And which, again, most guys in general don't support. We don't support men not taking care of their kids. But back to the main point, back to the main subject. She basically thinks that we're dusty and it's not going to work out. So let me just. Okay, so here's the thing. And this is not the first time some guy has gotten scandaled out of some type of money or something like that. I was watching, there's a content creator, his name is Beautiful Eyes, El Guapo. He showed this case in which there was a guy in the United States that he was dating a Filipina. He was dating a Filipina, and he was sending her money like every month, stuff like that. And then he was telling her that he wanted to get a house for them to live in once she gets there. So anyway, he's sending her money, and then she told him that she found like a developer that's actually building a house. He just has to send a so and so amount of money per month for them to build the house. So the guy was sending her money, and then eventually, when he wound up finally retiring completely and going to the Philippines, he found out that the woman never sent the money to the developer to build a house. In fact, all she was doing, she was just stacking the money away. She was storing it away. And every time because what he would do was he would have her send him a receipt and like a picture of the house that's getting built. What she did is she went to like a construction site there. She went to a construction site every day in the morning, would take pictures and send it to him and act like, that it was actually the house being built for him. And I bring it up to say this. Here's the thing. You have to be careful anywhere. I don't care what country you go to. I don't care if you're in the United States. This happens all the time. Even in the United States. I mean, think about all the women who marry men and they put them on this insurance. Like they put them on life insurance. They get all these claims. They whack their husband and then they go ahead and collect the money. Look right now what's happening with Puff Daddy. Look what's happening with Puff Daddy. He's dating Cassie. I believe her name is Cassie. He's dating her. They've been going out for a while. He breaks up with her. And now about 10, 15 years later, she's trying to cry that he raped her and he took advantage of her. He had her doing this and that with like male escorts and all that kind of stuff. And really, I mean, because right now, so when she left Puffy, she ended up with some type of like personal trainer or something like that. But the way I look at it, which a lot of guys look at it too, this is just a money grab. It really is just a money grab. Her career fell apart after she left Puffy. She's not doing well. Of course, the personal trainer she's with, he's not making the money Puffy had. So she remembers those times when she was in Puffy, she was living with luxury and that kind of thing. I say that to say that she purposely put this lawsuit against him and pretty much threatened that, like, for the most part, if you don't send me any money, I'm going to go through with this lawsuit. It's going to ruin your career and so forth. And I say that to say, and same thing, even look what's happening with Will Smith. His wife, Jada Pinkett, she put this book out. I guess, to talk about her life and Will Smith. So pretty much she's trying to make money at Will Smith's expense. And that's supposed to be her husband that she supposedly cares about, which is why I'm still shaking my head why he doesn't leave her. But I say all this to say this. There are scandalous women everywhere. We're all sinners. It's not going away. There's scandalous women in every single country. You got to be very, very careful. You got to be very careful which is why I always say, whenever you deal with a woman, whether she's overseas or in the United States, you need to vet these women. You need to vet them. There actually was an app, I forgot the name of the app, but anyway, in the United States, where the way the app worked was you would put a profile up, a woman would, I guess she would contact you, and you guys would go out on a date. I think like that same day or something like that. It was like almost like an instant date type of thing. So anyway, there was a case in which some women had, pretty much what happened was some men signed up on the site. When it went to the date, what happened was the women had some guys with them. And what would happen is when the guys were on the date, and like after the date was over, when they would go back to the car, the women had set the men up so that these, I guess, probably their boyfriends or brothers or something, will come out, rob the guys, take their car, and that kind of thing. So what I'm trying to tell you is that in the dating market everywhere, you still got to be careful. It's not, I mean, literally, you have to make sure you vet all women. We already know about women in Colombia and scoping people. I just told you about one of the scams in the Philippines. I'm sure almost every single country there's some type of scam there, which is why before you go to a country, it's always good to do your research, and always like some of the passport bros have said, you want to do some type of you want to do some type of consultation with like a passport bro that's been there before, because he can tell you the up and up. He can tell you what to avoid. He can tell you about the scams. He can tell you what type of women to watch out for. He can tell you like the like the red flags and that kind of thing. That's very, very helpful. It's very, very helpful. So, and let me add to this. She said that the woman threatened to divorce him once he lost his job and he couldn't send any money. Isn't that typical of most? I mean, I hate to say it, most women, a lot of women in the United States, I mean, that's dating these basketball players and so forth. Once the money runs out, a lot of them wind up leaving. I mean, once times go bad, they pretty much leave. I mean, if you think about the fact Kim Kardashian, she married like several different people. Once times got hard or bad, she just leaves. I mean, it's like, yeah. So there's a lot of women marrying men in general. That's everywhere, even in the United States. Just marry them for money, and then once the money runs out, they bounce. But here's the thing too to consider: most women in general are hypergamous, and to add to that, what I've been saying a lot of times in general is, when you go to these other countries, keep in mind, as I said before, Colombia, the unemployment rate is very, very high. It's very, very high. I'm sure the same thing in Jamaica is very, very high. So what do most women do when they can't really get a job and they're struggling, and the few jobs they have don't really pay much? They look for marriage. They look for a man. They look for a man that can provide for them. They're looking for providers. So you should expect in general that when you go outside of the United States, see that the United States is one of the richest countries in the world. Most of these other countries, whether it's in the Caribbean or South America, these are not rich countries. The people there are struggling. They're poor. They're looking for, especially the women, they're looking for men that can, provide for them and are lead to have something to go on for them. Now, this does not mean that I'm saying that they're all gold diggers. I'm not saying that, but it's in a woman's nature to want to nest. She wants to nest, and she needs somebody to pretty much help her build the nest and make her place very homely. And that's gonna cost funds. Unfortunately, it's gonna cost funds. Now, again, you don't want a gold digger where it's like a sugar baby, sugar daddy type of thing, where you're just funding her lifestyle, but she doesn't want to get intimate with you. She doesn't want to tell her family that she's in love with you. She never gets affectionate with you. You can tell a gold digger from a woman who's just hypergamous and just wants a man who has something going for him. I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman wanting to have a man that has something going for him. Whether it's, he got a little small business going, or maybe he is, like a chef at a restaurant. He's making decent money. He has a degree. Maybe he's a guy who's excelled, who's like he gets contracts for like construction business or so forth. Either way, what I'm trying to say is that most women in general, they generally are going to flock to men who have something going for them. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is, and this is in general, when you run out of for an example of this guy, he ran out of money. But again, the woman there, she can't work. She can't work, or she does work, it's not that much. it's not that much for her to fund her lifestyle. Keep in mind that he got her a house. So if there's a mortgage there, where's she going to get the money? Where's she going to get the money? So again, he's saying, I don't have, anything. I don't have anything to give you. So, I mean, so what I'm saying is there's more to this story than just, oh, well, he ain't got no money, I don't want to be with him. I mean, she's a woman, she's a working human being just like everybody else. She has bills to pay as well. And unfortunately, if she's dealing with a man that can't really take care of him, I mean, this is kind of like her almost dealing with I'm not gonna say Pookie and Ray Ray, but at some point you have to, like, for me personally, if I lost my job, I would immediately go and get like a McDonald's job, something like that, just to pay bills, just to look after my family and that kind of thing. So, I have to look at this scenario kind of sideways, because I don't think it's, because again, this is only what the woman in this video has told us. We don't really know all the minor details. But I said it to say to the guys listening, don't be scared to date a woman in another country or overseas, or don't be afraid to be a passport bro. There are women over there. There are women everywhere that are gold diggers. But what you need to do is just vet properly. And she's saying that women here have lowered standards. Like, where has she been at? I mean, we all know about the 666, where you got to have a six pack, you got to make six figures, and you got to be 6 feet tall. So, I mean, in many cases, you have women literally saying stuff like, the guy don't make over $500,000 a year, I don't want to be with him. So, I mean, so who's really with the man just because of his money? This is going on everywhere. I mean, and this is why a lot of men, they don't want to, a lot of men here in general, because they make $60,000 or less, a lot of women here don't even want to deal with them in general. So my whole thing is, why are you worried about those men going to where they're valued and appreciated? Because the women here, they're not valuing and appreciating these men. So in her case, I understand that she has some ill will towards her father. That's why she's talking like this and saying this about him. But really, to be honest with you, like I said before, when I'm looking at the woman, if you look at her, she's kind of plain looking. She's kind of plain looking, and she obviously know that she can't compete with some of these foreign women. Are just, they just look, they're just gorgeous. I'll put it that way. They're just gorgeous. As we've said before, United States, there is a beauty deficit. But once you go overseas, very few obese women, and it's very, very competitive for women there, because the women there are very, very beautiful. You see it everywhere. So, of course, a woman like the one you saw in the video, when you look at her, very basic looking. Yeah, so I mean, so obviously she knows if this movement continues, the few little men that will be willing to date with her and deal with her. So I'm sure there's, as I said before, because there's such a deficit here, you got women who are like fives, demanding the treatment of like tens. So she's probably one of those women. But now that those men that were simping for her, they're not there anymore. They're somewhere in, like her father in Jamaica. They're in Jamaica. They're in the DR. They're in Mexico. They're in Colombia. They're in Guatemala. So that's the whole thing about this. So, but anyway, I already made this video kind of long. I'm gonna try to end on this note because I don't want to keep this. I actually went longer than I wanted to go. But I just wanted to address this woman, talking, because she's using terms that we hear now. All these women calling men just in general dusties and that kind of thing, because they don't want to deal with a woman with a nasty attitude. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Please leave your comments. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Hit the thumbs up. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.
Dear Passport Boys, dear Passport Bros, stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Are you going to the Philippines to look for a Filipina queen or what? So stop calling yourself Passport Boys and Passport Bros. Start calling yourself Passport Kings.